Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's The Jewels of the Quran, Jawahir al-Quran. We have reached Surah Saba, Sheba, and Imam Ghazali chose 5 verses, jewels from this particular chapter. And the very last session was about Surah Al-Sajda, 7 verses. And obviously Imam Ghazali did not choose anything from Surah Al-Ahzab. Now, other than the 5 verses that Imam Ghazali chose from Surah Saba, what is it about? Of course, Saba, obviously what comes to mind is that kingdom in the southwestern corner of the Arabian Peninsula. It's Yemen, and the historical narrative is that that kingdom existed pretty much close to the city of Aden, a couple of 100 miles to the northwest. But I've seen maps of this kingdom extending more into Hadramaut. Wallah subhanahu wa ta'ala a'la wa a'lam about Allah knows best about the how far really that kingdom extended, but definitely it was a flourishing kingdom with and the Quran refers to the agriculture. Their strength is a statement, it's their own statement about their own strength, but the Quran speaks about the agriculture, the Jannatan, to the right, one to the right, one to the left. It appears to be the agriculture that existed on both sides of the valley when there are heavy rains and the valley is full with water. This is a very, very long valley. I'm speaking from what I have seen. It does take away the villages, the water, the current, the flooding. It takes away these small villages that were and still are practically made out of mud on the edge of the valley. The Imam Ghazali chose the first 3 verses, and then he moved on to other verses, to verse 9 and verse 36. But the surah itself does include the themes that praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who to whom belongs everything in the universe, the heavens and the earth, ma fi samawat wa ma fi al-ard. And praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hereafter, through and through. Yes, everything is in the universe is He has created, and since He has created everything, it goes without saying. The next verse speaks about He knows whatsoever goes into the earth and whatever comes out of it, and whatever descends from the sky and whatever ascends into it. He's the most merciful, the all forgiving. The 3rd verse still speaks about more details or more tiny things that exist in the universe, things that we are aware of, things that pretty sure that we are not aware of all the small things that exist in the universe. The disbelievers, وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَا تَأْتِينَا السَّاعَةُ, they say the hour will never come to us. There is no hour, practically. That's what they say. There is no end. There is no day of judgment. There is no afterlife. There is. Say, O Prophet, yes, by my Lord, the knower of the unseen. قل بلى وربي لتأتينكم عالم الغيب. It will certainly come to you, not even an atom's weight is hidden from him in the heavens or the earth, nor anything smaller, and I'm stressing smaller than an atom. لا يعزب عنه مثقال ذرة في السماوات ولا في الأرض ولا أصغر من ذلك ولا أكبر إلا في كتاب مبين. Neither smaller nor larger of an atom, except that it's in a perfect record. It is written, it is established, it is in the preserved tablet, everything in the verse. There's an account of everything. Nothing is left to chaos. When they say chaos theory, it's because the information is just simply overwhelming. They cannot really get the how could they? I'm talking about human beings. How could they basically know all these the details of everything in the universe? Even on Earth, we don't know. We cannot quantify every single thing that we know. Now, this happened before in terms of Imam Ghazali selecting verses that show that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that reflect that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows these small things, the particulars. And this is one of the major three issues in the Intihaft philosophy and the incoherence of the philosophers that Imam Ghazali rendered because of them here Imam Ghazali rendered the philosophers non-believers if they subscribe to these three. One of them is the eternity of their claim of the eternity of the world. The second thing is that the denial of the resurrection of the bodies, so that only the souls will be resurrected. Number three, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the universes and He does not know the particulars. Almost subscribing to a Platonic worldview, the universals, the quote unquote the forms. So He reward those who believe and do good. It is they who have forgiveness, will have forgiveness and an honorable provision. But Imam Ghazali did not include this fourth verse. The narrative continues, speaks about those disbelievers who were mocking the Prophet ﷺ about the being resurrected, a new creation, if you will, such as verse number 7. وقال الذين كفروا هل ندلكم على رجل ينبئكم إذا مزقتم كل ممزق إنكم لفي خلق جديد. So the disbelievers, they sarcastically mocking, shall we show you a man who claims that when you have been utterly disintegrated? Remember in Surah the Sajda, I think, ضللنا, we said that simply lost this, again, this notion of being disintegrated, but spread out through the earth, in the earth. Here directly speaks about disintegration after many years. Simply the body is from dust to dust, if you will. But know very well that you will be resurrected. The blueprint for your DNA will always be there, and of course you will be the new creation. Will the resurrection will be fit for an everlasting life. I will move to the family of Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam. So we have Sayyidina Dawood and then Sayyidina Sulaiman, David and Solomon, father and son, prophet and prophet. In fact, prophet messenger Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam, because he received uh, the Zabur, and we'll speak about that inshallah. But the verse open about the story of Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam uh, is about the favors and also about Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted Sayyidina Dawood a great privilege, commanding the mountains to echo his hymns. يا جبال أوبي معه والطير لقد آتينا داود منا فضلا يا جبال أوبي معه والطير وألنا له الحديد, and we made iron moldable for him. ألنا enable him to work to form new things from iron, as the next verse will explain, instructing make full length armor, perfectly balancing the lengths. أن اعمل سابغات وقدر في السرد واعملوا صالحا إني بما تعملون بصير. The translation of وَعْمَلُوا صَالِحًا in and work righteousness. Yes, it's about the way that they should be thankful. But after it mentions the favors on Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam, ultimately it is addressing the family of Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam. Work gratefully, O family of David. اعملوا آل داود شكرا. Work gratefully. Really, اعملوا آل داود شكرا. Your thankfulness should not be limited to the verbal praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have said it before, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows on you knowledge, spend from that knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows on you health, spend from that health. Not that you give part of your health that you'll be devoid of that, or that you'll give part of your knowledge that you'll be devoid of that. No, share. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants you financial wealth, share. That's the practical. اعملوا آل داود شكرا والله سبحانه وتعالى أعلى وأعلم. The favors on Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam, the wind that journeys a month in each direction, but it was the wind was subjected to Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam. Here it says, and we caused a stream of molten copper to flow for him. وَأَسَلْنَا لَهُ عَيْنَ الْقِطْرِ. Let me say, in Surah Al-Kahf, the qitr is also mentioned there. And the people who were practically an ignorant people that Dhul Qarnayn met, who asked him to build a barrier between them and Ya'juj and Ma'juj. The fact that they could not really understand much, he did not tell them, sit aside and I will do everything along with my army. He involved them in the project. آتوني زبر الحديد, the iron ore, having fire to melt the iron. And then he asked them at one point to bring him آتوني أفرغ عليه قطرة. It has been interpreted by some Muslim scholars as lead. Number 2, it has been interpreted as copper. Number 3, amongst the contemporary Muslim scholars who subscribe to the scientific interpretation, the miraculous interpretation of the Quran, they said it is carbon. you add carbon to iron, and it becomes stainless steel at any rate. So we have these three possibilities about the meaning of qitr. And you might say, you know, this is the the a stream a stream of molten copper. Well, uh, what you might have is that it could be also oil, as the fuel that we use, oil that surfaces. That's also a possibility. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wa a'lam. Oil did exist on the surface, um, in the region and elsewhere. And the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uh, subjected some of the jinn to work under his command by his Lord's will, بإذن ربه. ومن الجن من يعمل بين يديه بإذن ربه. At any rate, when Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam passed away, the jinn did not know that he passed away, except that the termites consumed his staff, a wooden staff, of course. Then we do have the story of Saba. If it's really Surah Saba, then we must say something about the Saba. We began. Indeed, there was a sign for the tribe of Sheba in their homeland, two orchards, one to the right and the other to the left. I explained, Wallahu alam, the to the right to the left, but that's really an interpretation that is based on what I saw. It could be something else. Wallah subhanahu wa ta'ala alam. They were told, eat from the provision of your Lord and be grateful to Him. Yours is a good land and a forgiving Lord. But they turned away. So there could be a period when they really worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they turned away, like the people of Mecca, adopting all these idols that they have worshipped. There are accounts that these idols were brought from the north, just like the children of Israel who asked Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam on the way out of Egypt to create an idol for them to worship, like the people that they passed by. So they know, and the Samarite, a different story here, created a golden calf for them to worship with, making sound like the lahu khiwar. At any rate, they turned away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so we sent against them a devastating flood and replaced their orchards with two other producing bitter. They taste the opposite of sweet, bitter fruit, fruitless bushes, and a few sparse, thorny trees. That's their the story with the details, and we will the details about the Queen of Sheba. It that comes from Surah An-Naml. It's not in the Surah Saba here directly. The Hoopoe bear, the Hudhud, bringing news about the queen that literally as if she owned her people, but they worshipped the sun, and they needed. So Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam, first of all, he found that the this who bear the hudhud was absent, promised punishment if like no reason why he was no good reason why he was absent. And yes, he brought news about this queen, about this people. The end result was that there was correspondence. She tried to send him a gift. He refused the gift, Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam. And the he obviously she went to see him, uh, and he asked those in his company whether any one of them could bring her throne right before him. And there were two offers. One of the jinn said that he could bring it before he leaves his that gathering, uh, but someone who knew uh, knowledge of the book, he said that I can bring it before you blink. That's the effectively the and the throne was already there, and when they camouflaged it a little bit, and she did not even recognize that it was her own throne. Ultimately, she became a Muslim. So the story of Sayyidina Ali, Sulaiman alayhi salam is the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on Sayyidina Sulaiman. No other person had the same favors in terms of uh, the domain, the kingdom, uh, a mulk, basically, he that no one else would ever have. But it ended as you have listened. He passed away, alayhi salam, and he remained in that position until he fell because the staff could not support him, and the jinn, in the meanwhile, were still working in that humiliating condition because they did not know, and that's very important to remember. The last two verses said that Imam Ghazali chose 5 verses from Surah Saba. We read 3 of them, tried to explain the larger context of the surah, and also referring to Surah An-Naml, the ant. For more information about the story of Saba, the last two verses, of course. أفلم يروا إلى ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم من السماء والأرض وإن نشأ نخسف بهم الأرض أو نسقط عليهم كسفا من السماء إن في ذلك لآية لكل عبد منيب. Did they not observe that which lies before them and that which lies behind them of the heaven and the earth? We could, if we please, this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that we could, if we please, cause the earth to swallow them up, or cause the clouds to fall upon them in a deluge. Surely in that is indeed a sign for every servant, of course, every servant of ours, who turns to us. إن في ذلك لآية لكل عبد منيب. You are not in control of, you cannot, you try to build the best buildings and bridges and highways and that are resistant to earthquake, but they do say that they can resist a certain strength, but not beyond that. I remember about 30 years ago. About 30 years ago, there was an earthquake in Japan, and there was an elevated highway that they said that it would resist earthquakes, and it didn't. It didn't. Same thing in California. There's a certain ridge. There's a ring of fire. There's a certain rift in the earth where the most of these earthquakes do take place. The So we are always in, live in a. They say that even in Palestine, every 100 years we have a massive earthquake. We ask Allah Subhanahu wa Taala to avoid the people the wrath of the outcome of a devastating earthquake. Statistically, we have an earthquake every other day, but we don't feel them. They are not that strong, and we are south of that um, earth rift, the line where it passes to the north, passes through Turkey, and it goes to Iran, etc. The very last verse: قل إن ربي يبسط الرزق لمن يشاء ويقدر ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. Sustenance is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Say, surely my Lord enlarges the provision to whomever He pleases, and straightens it for whomever He pleases. But most people do not know it. Subhanallah, rizq is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the sustainer. No one can basically interfere with your sustenance. If you lose your job, it's because there is another job somewhere else. Rest assured, your sustenance will never miss you. It's only when one dies that there is no more sustenance for him or for her. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala established these provisions and the sustenance for every creature that needs such sustenance, for everyone. So your sustenance could move from one place to the other, from one country to the other, from one institution to the other, from one job market to the other. But your sustenance is always there. You ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And rizq, of course, it goes beyond the rizq is the spouse is rizq, and the offspring is rizq, and the tranquility and is rizq, and a heart that does not hold grudges is rizq. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Al-Razzaq to provide us with all that good that the Prophet ﷺ asked for, inshallah. In the next session, we will deal with Surah Fatir, and Imam Ghazali chose 13 verses, 13 juz, if you will. Until then, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.